Hello and welcome. This is a 7-page whistleblower disclosure that discusses that not only is the FBI, CIA, and other federal agencies performing censorship on social media platforms like Twitter and Facebook, but that their censorship goes much deeper, even reaching the type of national news content a U.S. citizen is allowed to see on their television inside their home, and the internet search results that U.S. citizen is allowed to see on their internet browser through network traffic manipulation. Now, a quick but important side note, because this is a YouTube version of the whistleblower disclosure that I will be sending to the Senate Judiciary Oversight Committee, names and locations will be redacted for obvious privacy concerns. I am watched by the FBI, CIA, and Mafia 24/7, so I would mind your own business if I were you, unless you want to have your illusion of privacy and freedom taken away from you for the rest of your life. You will be on the grid, and they will watch you for the rest of your life. In this video, I will briefly dive into FBI discredit operations, hackers' anonymous secrets, and show FBI declassified documents that I have received so far, all of which can be explored further in future videos. Now, coming back to this, the Senate Judiciary Committee will have the unredacted version, so they will be able to see the names and locations. The Senate Judiciary Committee is an oversight committee that holds the FBI and federal agencies accountable for their actions. The hearings are available to the public and you can actually watch them on YouTube. Okay, let's now scroll down. Okay, moving on. I'm basically going to just read this whistleblower disclosure out loud, but there will be times that I stop in order to give more information. I have evidence that I backed up while undercover, and I have correspondence with the FBI and CIA via emails and phone calls. I have attached to this whistleblower disclosure the FOIPA request that I've been sending to the FBI and CIA in order to declassify previously public national news content related to me from the year 2017. Now, some background on FOIPA, F-O-I-P-A, which stands for the Freedom of Information Act and the Privacy Act of 1974. If you ever want to get information declassified from the government, these two acts are your best option. There's also an MDR request, which stands for Mandatory Declassification Review, but that is for very specific information. If you want to know more, Google the President Executive Order 13526, and you can find out more about classification and declassification protocols. Now, coming back to this, FBI Special Agent S.A. blank, remember, this is the YouTube version, names and locations are going to be redacted, but the Senate Judiciary Committee will have the unredacted version, so they will see the FBI Special Agent names, from the blank California field office emailed me. Now, SA stands for Special Agent, and it's an acronym that we will see a lot of when we look at the FBI declassified documents later in this video. So an FBI Special Agent emailed me writing, "Please give me a call regarding blank, and talk to me over the phone about ramifications if my requested information was declassified." Special Agent blank was directed to talk to me about the content in my FOIPA request by the Records/Information Dissemination Section, aka RIDS, R-I-D-S, located in Winchester, Virginia. Now, some background on the Record Information Dissemination Section, aka RIDS. You can think of them as essentially the gatekeepers for any information that you were allowed to read throughout your entire life. The government first classifies information, and then if they decide that the public can handle it, that it's publicly acceptable, gatekeepers, like the Record Information Dissemination Section, will declassify it, and then you get to see it on your Google search results and in your 4th grade history book during your indoctrination process from kindergarten to 12th grade. Unless it is declassified, you'll never see it on the internet. This is one method of many for how the deep state government can control your perception of reality by deciding what information to allow into your life. If you saw it or heard it, it's because the powers that be have allowed it. Okay, let's now scroll down. Now, coming back to this, blank was my FBI handler while I was undercover in 2016 and 2017, and retired from the agency in 2021. Special Agent blank informed me that he was a colleague of FBI Special Agent blank who was stationed at the blank California field office during the events described in my FOIPA request. Now, think about that for a brief moment. The gatekeepers of public information told an FBI Special Agent to reach out to me through email and talk to me over the phone about ramifications should my requested information be declassified. Obviously, my FOIPA request contained sensitive information, and FOIPA requests are public record, so maybe in the future we can do a deep dive into the contents. Now, coming back to this whistleblower disclosure can be public since I have no government employment history of any kind. I have no security level clearances of any kind. I never signed any contracts or non-disclosure agreements, and I never received compensation while I was FBI volunteer undercover. Okay, let's now scroll down. There are 2 smoking guns of proof. One is national news content. I'm talking Fox and CNN, news that was broadcast throughout multiple states like California, Arizona, Nevada, and even reaching as far as Texas. This national news content that was relayed to me from the year 2017 has been classified by the FBI in order to wipe out history and hide their gaslight abuse that they would perform on me. We will dive further into this in a bit. The other smoking gun is the fact that the FBI made prosecutions based on information that I provided to them, and at the time of writing this letter, there are individuals serving prison sentences for attempted murder and other cyber/violent crimes. One such individual that is currently serving a prison sentence has the last name blank, who lived at blank from 2015 to 2017, and drove a black Toyota Camry, license plate blank, from 2015 to 2017. Blank can be tracked using the Central Inmate Monitoring System, aka CIMS, C-I-M-S, and possibly public court records. As for other methods for proving the validity of my whistleblower claims, you can subpoena LinkedIn Corporation and Charter Communications. Now, Charter Communications is the parent company of Spectrum Internet. Back in 2016, it was the parent company of Time Warner Internet. Okay, let's now scroll down. Now, this next portion reveals methods for how the FBI and other federal agencies can discredit you and gaslight abuse you into living their false narrative. The FBI and CIA censored national news content relayed to me in the year 2017 that showed me being the target of domestic terrorism by the international hacker collective called Anonymous. Now, Anonymous claims that they are a decentralized vigilante, freedom of information type group, but they go around and literally commit domestic terrorism by performing psychological warfare techniques that infiltrate our international airports. And they say they don't have leadership, but they do have leadership. They get their orders from somewhere. Let's just leave it at that for now. Okay, so the FBI showed me being the target of domestic terrorism on national news by Anonymous, but censored it from me and my family while allowing others to view the news story on their television. This technique of shielding a news story from you, but allowing your neighbors to see what the news story is also called shadow banning. We are seeing this technique was performed on Twitter through the Twitter files that Elon Musk has been giving to the news media outlets. Now, the FBI will claim that this is for your protection and safety, but really they are just gaslighting you in order to control you by controlling your perception of reality. It's the equivalent of the FBI saying, we have to violate and steal your First Amendment for your protection and safety. It's a very common elite gaslighting strategy. Okay, coming back to this. The public news censorship and shadow banning was done in order to control my perception of reality so that they could gaslight me and my family into living a lie where the false narrative was, nobody was following me or stalking me or trying to kill me, I have a chemical imbalance and need mental health medication. Meanwhile, I am literally giving cyber intrusion network traffic logs to my FBI handler at a coffee shop when my FBI handler tells me to my face, you have a chemical imbalance. This is the start of their discredit operation in order to keep their secrets and backdoor relationships with Anonymous, the mafia, and whoever else. Okay, let's now scroll down. The FBI pushed me into permanent disability so that they could discredit me, silence me, steal my First Amendment, and protect domestic terrorists linked to the international hacker collective called Anonymous/Cyber Mafia. Now, you can think of Anonymous as an umbrella where underneath there are multiple cyber criminal groups, and one of them being the Cyber Mafia. So when I say Hackers Anonymous or Cyber Mafia, they are essentially the same. You can interchange them. And remember, they claim to have no leadership, but they do get their orders. Them saying they are decentralized is them trying to pull you in with their propaganda. Okay, let's now scroll down. LinkedIn and Charter Communications both worked with the FBI as a result of my FBI volunteer undercover work, since I was the bridge that connected these companies to the FBI to catch cyber criminals and terrorists. Now this part's redacted, so let's scroll down more. The FBI coerced me into going to a mental health outpatient facility with the old, it's for your protection and safety trick, called Blank Hospital in Blank, California, so that they could give me a mental health diagnosis that I never had before and prescribe to me mental health medication that I never needed before. Once that is on your medical history record, it's very easy to discredit you and for others to not believe you. Basically, discredit operation 101 is get fake mental health diagnoses and mental health medications onto your medical record, and then nobody will believe you. And if you talk about government secrets or anonymous secrets, nobody will believe you. Okay, let's now scroll down. Under the Freedom of Information Act 5 U.S.C. subsection 552 and the Privacy Act 5 U.S.C. subsection 552A, I requested that the FBI and CIA release previously publicly disclosed national news content related to me. Under 5 U.S.C. subsection 552A4A3, I requested a full fee waiver for public interest. The materials that I seek from the FBI and CIA will shed significant light on government operations and activities that involve the destruction of their own U.S. citizens, as well as domestic terrorism activities that show how our airport/nation security is put at risk. The public and Congress will be very interested in knowing why the FBI is permanently disabling U.S. law-abiding, tax-paying citizens that report cyber terrorism in order to protect Hackers Anonymous, which in turn makes those newly disabled individuals now dependent on the government for a paycheck, thus paving the way towards communism. I have the knowledge and the platform to disseminate this information to the public and show them how the United States of America is being destroyed internally by cyber terrorism and the measures the FBI and CIA are taking to conceal this internal destruction from the public. I would really appreciate it if you brought this letter and attached the materials to a public oversight hearing and asked the FBI director questions regarding national news censorship and shadow banning. Just like Twitter, they do not target just one individual, but many. The discredit operation that the FBI performed on me was expertly executed, like they had done this to many others. And once an individual is on SSDI, which stands for Social Security Disability Income, with free income and free health insurance, it is very easy to encourage that individual to just go along with the FBI's false narrative. Okay, let's now scroll down. The FBI will most likely claim this disclosure as misinformation, claim that I am permanently disabled in order to discredit me further, and perform other gaslighting techniques on the Senate Judiciary Committee. But remember, there are two smoking guns of proof. One is the national news content that the FBI has classified and keeps classified in order to hide their gaslight abuse, and the other smoking gun is the fact that there is a human life serving a prison sentence because of the undercover operations that occurred in 2017. I also have evidence that I gave to my previous FBI handler that allowed the FBI to move forward with their investigation, which resulted in prosecutions that I backed up. And lastly, there are two companies you can subpoena for the truth: LinkedIn and Char Communications. Thank you for reading this letter, attached evidence, and FOIPA requests. Okay, so that's the whistleblower disclosure. Let's now look at 7 FBI declassified documents. So this is the first of 7 FBI declassified documents that I'm going to show. I have more that I'll send to the Senate Judiciary Committee, but for now, I'm just going to show 7. The first of which shows, if we look at the highlighted portion, that on June 21st, 2016, Special Agent Blank, my previous FBI handler, requested NCIC report for me. Essentially, these FBI declassified documents are going to show that my previous FBI handler in June and July of 2016 was doing a background check on me, essentially pulling up my rap sheet. And one of those requests is to the NCIC, which stands for National Crime Information Center. And it's essentially the database that every law enforcement pulls their information into, and it's controlled and monitored by the FBI. So this is simply showing that he's doing a request on my background and pulling up my rap sheet. You can see that's approved by his boss, Supervisory Special Agent Blank, and that there is a case ID associated with this. So an investigation, a case had already been opened at this point. If we look at the right, we can see the FOIA exemption codes, B6, B7C. These are the FOIA Freedom of Information Act exemption codes that they're using to redact, obviously, the name of the supervisory special agent and other sensitive information. Now, you'll see that there's black bars here. That's me redacting my last name for privacy, obviously. And so if you see a white box, that's redactions done by the Record Information Dissemination section using one of the 9 FOIA exemptions. And if you see a black box, that's me personally redacting my last name. So you can see that he got a report back on July 26th, 2016. And if we move on to the next page, we can see here that from the National Crime Information Center, it shows that this subject, meaning me, I'm the subject, has multiple warrants from this agency. So this is the FBI literally just telling me through a declassified document that they have multiple warrants on me. Now, I've never been arrested by the FBI. At the time that this inquiry was done, June, July 2016, I had no bench warrants out on me. I had no warrants of any kind. So from my personal experience, the way I interpret this line right here, saying this subject has multiple warrants from this agency, I'm interpreting that as them having multiple FISA surveillance warrants out on me. FISA, F-I-S-A, stands for the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act of 1978. And it allows them to just do whatever electronic surveillance they want, whatever physical surveillance they want, and just monitor you however they want. Now, it's pretty easy to get a warrant. All you got to do is submit a FISA application to the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, and a judge signs off on it, and then they can do surveillance of whatever kind they want, electronic, with a drone, physically, however they want. Okay, moving on. Here we can see that he's pulling up my DMV record. He requests on June 21st, 2016, my DMV record. He gets the report back on July 26, 2016. Once again, on the right, we can see the FOIA exemption codes used to redact the names. And once again, the black boxes are my personal redactions, redacting my last name. Next is essentially the same thing. He's pulling up my CII criminal history, background check, rap sheet. This all happens in June and July of 2016. Next, because this is redacted, I don't know what database this is from. It's confidential, it's classified. And so he requests information on me from a classified FBI database on July 21st, 2016, and then gets the report back July 26th, 2016. And then also the same thing here, it's redacted. I don't know what database check he did, but he does a request on June 7th, 2016, and gets the results back August 1st, 2016. Now this last page right here, and let me zoom in this top portion right here. This last page right here is pretty important. It shows that on August 17th, 2016, Special Agent blank was contacted by blank for Charter Communications. This blank portion, those are representatives from Charter Communications, which is the parent company of Spectrum Internet. Blank, a representative from Charter Communications, contacted Special Agent blank, my previous FBI handler, regarding their customer, Thomas blank. Remember, the black boxes are me just redacting my last name. Blank had advised Charter of possible hacking attempts and online harassment through his internet service provider, Charter Communications. Blank advised that based upon some of the information provided by blank and their initial research into the matter, that there may be some validity to blank claims of hacking. Blank told me that his company would cooperate with law enforcement on the matter as appropriate. Blank advised Special Agent blank that Charter Communications would cooperate with the FBI on the matter if requested. A representative from Charter Communications then forwarded an email to my previous FBI handler, Special Agent blank, from me that I originally sent to Charter Communications regarding the hacking issues. The email that I sent to Charter Communications with the information that they then forwarded to my previous FBI handler was then uploaded to the investigation file. And if we scroll down to the bottom of this page, we can see that the investigation on August 17, 2016 at an FBI field office in California was moving forward. Of course, later on, through the clandestine operations and their crooked doctor informants, they gaslighted me into permanent disability, censored national news from me, did shadow banning on the news media outlets in order to control my perception of reality. But you can see that they opened up an investigation, and I have emails from them. It's just a discredit operation that they started to do in 2017. In 2016, they're already moving forward with the investigation, looking into the hacking matters, and the information that I provided to Charter Communications was valid enough for them to say, yes, we will work with the FBI on the hacking issues. So that's it. That's the last page of the FBI declassified documents that I'm going to show in this video. I might show more as I receive more in the future, but this is just the start of a very long process. The government works very slowly, so for this all to really start fleshing out, it's going to be about 3 to 5 years. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.